Woo! Hey everybody, Jim Salmons here, and welcome to the Kayak Fishing Show live. As always, brought to you by all of our wonderful sponsors that are scrolling across the bottom there. Siegler Reels, Warner Paddles, Ballast Point Brewing Company, of course, Seagar, Fluorocarbon, Jackson Kayaks, Warner Paddles, I already said that one. Standard Horizon, who does our VH radios, who probably one of our oldest sponsors. Yak Attack, Band of Anglers, Ray Marine, NRS, who make all the great clothing and PFDs, which you should be wearing every time you go out. So if you are new to these shows, we do them every Tuesday, sometimes Thursday, sometimes more. Basically showing old episodes of my show. On Tuesdays, we've been showing the Jackson kayak years. Today is going to be episode 6 of season 9. I don't actually have all the episodes. So it's like we showed episode 4 last week. I don't have episode 5 for some reason, and I don't remember what it was. So, but 6 and 7 are from Brazil down to the Amazon, which was an absolutely amazing trip. So we'll be sharing that with you. Hopefully, Esteban is going to jump on here with me. He said he might be able to make it. But if not, hopefully we'll get him on next week because this is a 2-parter. Anyway, so hope you guys all had a good weekend. I actually got out fishing yesterday with my buddy on San Diego Bay. Kind of slow, but San Diego Bay is pretty reliable. I mean, I generally say if I catch a dozen fish, it's a pretty slow day. You know, you're not catching anything huge, but spotted bay bass are a lot of fun. But lately, I don't know what's been going on. It's been tough. It's been really tough. I think I caught 5-6 fish. I think I got 6 spotties and a sculpin yesterday. Matt, I think, got like 9 spotties and a small halibut. But I mean, that for us, that's a really slow day. We had good tides. You know, we would have expected to, I mean, on a good day, we'll put 100 fish on the boat between us. And every time we've gone out lately, it's been tough. So I'm not sure what the deal is, because the bay is a year-round fishery. You know, it's always, if it's happening, it's good. So I say if the tide is moving, it's usually pretty good. So I don't know what's been going on. Maybe it's cyclical and it's just one of those things. I mean, it does happen. It looks like Esteban popped in down below me, so I will get to him here in a second. I'm glad you can join me, Esteban. I got one of my dogs in here wanting me to throw the tennis ball. That's my big golden retriever. If you guys follow me at all, you know I've got 5 dogs. So we keep our house is pretty entertaining with dogs running around. So I don't know if anybody here is knife guys. I like knives. I forever have carried around an Emerson Benchmade collaboration knife, and I had it for a long time, and I loved that knife. And unfortunately, somehow I managed to misplace it. I think I lost it on one of my trips, and I just had my 34th wedding anniversary. My wife got me a new Emerson, and just a beautiful knife. It's a little different. It's the flip open is really cool. It does have one feature that you need to be aware of. It's got this hook, which they call the wave. And the reason behind it is actually you can pull it out of your pocket, and you pull it at the angle, it'll catch the material on your pocket. So as you're pulling the knife out, the blade deploys, which is kind of a cool feature if you're aware of it. I wasn't aware of it when I first got it and it was put in my pocket, and I go to pull it out, and all of a sudden I got a blade popping out. So it's kind of different. So now that I'm aware of it, I'm always, careful of the direction I lift the knife out because I don't want the blade deploying all the time. But very, very sweet knife. And thank you to my wonderful wife for that. I think, sorry, dog wants his tennis ball again. I may have shared this once before. I wanted one of these knives for a very long time, and I just kept looking, and I finally found it on eBay. And this is a Buck Tiburon, and this was a collaboration between Ed Gillette. And if you don't know who Ed Gillette is, look him up. He is the only person who has ever paddled a kayak solo from California to Hawaii. And he did this way before the days of GPS and all that stuff. He did it in a modified tandem sit inside kayak. And I think it took him 64 days unassisted all by himself. But anyway, he collaborated on this knife design with Buck Knives, and I always wanted one. It got discontinued, and I was able to find one, and it's very cool. Comes with the sheath. There's a guy, because I was looking for one for such a long time, I'd get notified of when this thing would come available. And there's a guy who keeps coming up, the ad on eBay that, Tiburon knife. And then you go to look at it and he's not actually selling the knife. He's just selling the sheath. So somebody could accidentally think they're buying a knife and they're just getting a sheath. And he's got it listed for like $40. It's ridiculous. But very cool knife. I'm stoked to have that. Couple Facebook users. So if we're seeing this Facebook user, if you are watching our shows via the Kayak Fishing Show group page, you need to give StreamYard permission to use your name. Otherwise, on my screen, it comes up as Facebook user. So I don't know who's saying hi, boss, but thanks for checking in. And again, you can watch our shows on the group page, on the show page, as well as on Kayak Fishing Tales, which is our YouTube channel. And I highly recommend, if you want to watch it on YouTube, that you hit the notification button, subscribe, and hit that you want to be notified. And that way, it's the easiest way to make sure that you get notified of when we're coming on live. Bill Edwards, you got the best sponsors ever. I do. I've got great sponsors, and most of them have been with me for a very long time. Just the nature of the business, you change sponsors every once in a while, but like I said, that's the thing. But most of these guys have been with us for a very long time, and I'm very, very lucky. Bill, you also say you love knives. I like knives. I've got so many. I've got Buck knives that I had from a kid. Buck knives were made here in El Cajon. I'm in San Diego, but that's just like a neighborhood. And I think now they moved to Montana, but forever when I was a kid, they were here in San Diego. So I had the chance to go to the Buck Knife Factory and stuff, and some very, very cool knives. Liam, thanks for joining us on Kayak Fishing Tales. Hey, we got Clifford joining us from Australia. Thanks for joining us, man. So with no further ado, I'm really stoked because I didn't give him a whole lot of notice, which is kind of my MO. I usually contact guys the day of a show and ask them if they can join me. And thankfully, Esteban was available and is able to come on here with me to share some stories and talk about this trip we had that he helped put together through his business that we did down in the Amazon. So with no further ado, Esteban, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for the invitation, Jim. Always good to hang out with you, even if it is from the distance.
You're looking buff, man.
How you doing?
You've been hanging out at the gym?
A little bit, yeah.
So where are you nowadays?
How you doing?
Good. Half the time I see you, you're down in Costa Rica. Half the time you're in Florida. Where are you right now?
Right now I am in Florida.
Yeah.
But I'm actually packing. I leave for Costa Rica in a week. I'm about to hit my high season. High season is about to start in the south. So we're going to be fishing the Southern Pacific quite a bit between now and April. And then we move north, chasing billfish. So
before we get into this episode, because I want to make sure we talk about it, is because in this episode it's going to say that it's Esteban from Blackbeard Fishing Company. I know you've started some other projects, so before we even get to the show, why don't you tell me what you're up to, what the name of the new business is? I'm still looking for tennis balls under my chair because my dog wants me to try to crazy thing.
Basically, Blackbeard Fishing Company evolved into something completely, not completely different, but very different from what it was when it started. It was a local guide service in Southwest Florida. We started as a kayak fishing guide service, and then once I got my captain's license, got a boat, and we started doing the boat thing, because a lot of people knew that I like to travel and fish in Costa Rica. A lot of clients were asking me to book trips for them or to help them out and give them advice about traveling abroad to fish. And that's where the idea of doing the international thing kind of was born. And around the same time, I was working quite a bit with you guys, setting up some trips and stuff like that. But I felt, especially when the pandemic started, I felt that that the company needed to change its name and be restructured a little bit and focus on just Latin America, because I was trying to do a lot of things in different continents, and that was kind of counterproductive. Long story short, we have a big, strong focus in Costa Rica right now, obviously, because I'm from there. I was born and raised in Costa Rica, and I got a foot here and a foot there. But we're doing trips from North America all the way down to South America. So USA. I don't do Alaska yet. I'm trying to find that outfitting partner in Alaska yet. But I do basically North Carolina to Argentina and everything in between.
Argentina would be awesome.
I know. Well, I have a trip set up for September next year. Actually, I have 2 trips in September. We're going to be going to Bolivia to chase Arapaima. I have a friend that him and some of his buddies kind of built this amazing lodge, and it hasn't been it's not as popular as other places right now. They're starting out and they need some help. They need some guides to go out there, or some people that are really good fishermen to go out there and help them figure things out. So it's kind of it's going to be an exploratory trip.
Right.
So I'm kind of taking volunteers. People that want to go on an exploratory trip at a huge discount, basically just a little over cost. We're trying to go help out some of our Bolivian friends while we catch some giant arapaima. I mean, and these guys are on fish all the time. And then second half of September, I'm gonna be going to Corrientes, Argentina, to chase some golden dorado. So
that's my dream fish right there. That's people always say what's on your bucket list, if you will, and that's certainly one of my still to do fish that I wanted for a very long time. So it's such a cool looking fish, They look like a salmon body shape and all that, but then they're twice as strong and they can bite a lure in half, and just
they're acrobatic and beautiful
badass fish. So that's
there's fishery in Argentina, because you can find them in Argentina, Bolivia, but this place that I teamed up with, they are a very exclusive lodge, and it kind of offers you the true Argentinian experience, because they're also a horse ranch.
Oh, so really?
People like that kind of the Argentina gaucho culture, which is the Argentinian cowboy culture. People that embrace that kind of lifestyle and experience can go there, ride horses, eat great, amazing, authentic Argentinian food, and then fish in the rivers. So rivers and lagoons. But to answer your question, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna throw another question out there. So keep going.
Okay, well, no, to answer your question, the new name of the company is the Americas Angling Company. It's no longer Blackbeard Fishing Company. So we kind of evolved.
The Americas.
The Americas. Yeah, because we're fishing the Americas.
Yeah, no, but I didn't. The Americas Angling.
Angling.
Is that what you said?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, I just didn't hear it clearly, the whole thing clearly. So the Americas Angling Company.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And where are people finding you?
Well, you can go to www.americasangling.com and visit our page. And you can also find me on Facebook under Americas Angling, and Instagram, same name.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm totally being distracted by my dog here. My golden retriever.
5 dogs already. Wow.
5 dogs. Yes.
I remember when you only had 2, right?
I haven't had only 2 for forever. I mean, since I think my wife and I first got married. We had 3 for a long time, and then 4, and now 5. And then the entire month of December, I'm going to have 7 because my daughter's dropping off her dogs while she goes on a trip. So I was like, it's a packed house, but it's fun. They keep us entertained, and
that's good.
You know, I wouldn't trade it for anything except for when you guys scooping up all that poop. It's a lot of it.
Especially, you got larger dogs too. See, I got smaller dogs. So I don't mind. I don't mind it as much. I younger dogs. Three of kids, so it's perfect because I don't have 3 of the 5 are okay. They do it.
Yeah, no, but that's okay. They're like I said, they're a lot of fun. So what I was actually started to ask you was, you know, because I know it's always a concern. I know when I used to guide down in Mexico, you know, one of the biggest questions I would ever get is it safe? When you start talking about places like Bolivia and Argentina, is it safe? Brazil, I know Brazil can be, I mean, the cities of Brazil can be a little sketchy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a very good question, Jim. A lot of people ask me that. And there are some places that a lot of people feel more comfortable traveling to than others. I actually offer a trip to Colombia, for example, and that's one of the first things people ask about Colombia, right? Historically.
Right.
And Mexico, same thing with Mexico. But we have teamed up with Global Rescue. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
Global Rescue, they offer great services, evacuation services. If you get hurt while on a trip, it's a great insurance to have, and it's not expensive. So I offer that to my clients as part of the all-inclusive package. So
that's a good idea.
If something happens, people are always taken care of. And also through Global Rescue, because of the new COVID requirements, we're able to cover the insurance requirements that a lot of the different embassies have for entry into different countries. Some are more strict than others. For example, Costa Rica was very strict coming out of the COVID shutdown. And they still are. They require that you have insurance if you're not vaccinated, or if you're vaccinated, then now they let you come in, but you have to provide proof. Argentina is just now opening. Not sure about Bolivia yet. I haven't looked into them much, but well, you know how it is. This pandemic thing. A lot of countries are still trying to figure things out, and tourism in a lot of different areas of the world suffered quite a bit. So it's kind of a recovery time right now, and I'm really excited about the next season, about 2022, because there's going to be a big boom in travel. And I
think honestly, a lot of people, you know, you can get onto it, and there's a lot of fish out there that haven't been harassed for about 1.5 years, 2 years now.
Exactly.
you
exactly.
know, and as long as the native populations, and I know this is actually a thing, is where, because they've been restricted and everything else, and all of a sudden they started harvesting stuff that they wouldn't normally harvest. So I know that's a thing. But I know it's also a bigger thing that mainly the fishes haven't been harassed. And I know, like down in Southern Baja, people that I talked to when it just started opening up just said it was just bonkers good. You know, so it's always a cool thing.
I was in the Atlantic coast of Costa Rica in May, and normally May it's an okay month for tarpon, and that's what we target in the Atlantic coast.
Right.
And I went to set up a deal with a new lodge and went fishing for half a day. I didn't expect to land a lot of fish. I said maybe one at least. I just want a big tarpon. Jim, in 4 hours, because I didn't have a lot of time. I was there for 2 days. I was in and out, but I made time to fish half a day. 4 hours, 5 big tarpon, all over 150 pounds. The last one was 180 at least. It took me 1.5 hours to bring it boat side. I mean, my arms were on fire. The captain said, one more. After 5 of them, I said, take me back, please. I'm done. I want to.
For anybody who has not been over there, now I did Silver King Lodge many years ago, and that's right on the border of Nicaragua and Costa Rica. And man, there are some big tarpon up there. Just
some of the
big.
biggest in the world.
Every one we caught were 110 plus. There were no small tarpon, and there was some much bigger ones around. It was absolutely an amazing fishery around that. And also what I thought, and you would know much better than me, is Costa Rica is not a huge country. It's not a big space from one side to the other, but the difference in that country from one coast to the other, the cultural differences from one coast to the other were absolutely amazing. Just so much more of a Caribbean feel on the Atlantic coast and so much different on the Pacific. So it's just like, that's what's so cool about exploring and traveling. And
Costa Rica is so diverse, and that's a good point that you mentioned. That you can actually go from coast to coast in about 4 or 5 hours, maybe even less. And it's not only the culture, like the fishery. You can go to Costa Rica and pretty much kind of complete your entire bucket list. You could go to the Atlantic side, get snook, tarpon, and then you could go to the mountains and catch trout. There's brown trout, there's rainbow trout, and there's a hybrid trout. And then you could keep going towards the Pacific side, and then you could get into the big billfish bite and rooster fish inshore and Cubera snapper
and big Cubera. And it's a cool place. Like I said, I've always loved Costa Rica, and this show is supposed to be about Brazil, but the one thing about Costa Rica is that I always appreciated the most about it is really how they embrace ecotourism. They have taken care of their country so well. I love going to Panama. I've had some of my best fishing trips to Panama, but the differences in the country itself, in how it seems that Costa Rica really takes care of their, like I said, because they've embraced ecotourism so much, you just see so much more life in the jungles and everything than I ever see when I go to Panama. It's amazing. And they're right next to each other.
Yeah. So, remember when we went to Drake Bay to fish for that show, and we got on the boat to go to the lodge.
Yeah.
And I would say maybe within the first 15 minutes, we saw 3 different species of monkeys. We saw caiman, we saw crocodiles, and I think we saw snakes. And that was all within 15 minutes. Then you and I spent, 9 days in the Amazon in Brazil?
Yeah.
And you guys still don't believe me that I saw one sloth. And I saw it. But we didn't see a lot of wildlife. We saw the pink dolphin and of course, a lot of different fish.
We did see the pink dolphin, which was cool.
All over the place. But in the trees, I expected to see monkeys and jaguars and all kinds of cool stuff. But it is so vast. The Amazon is so big that I figured those animals are probably deeper inland.
And that should, lead us into actually this episode. I said we flew down there. I remember, and I was thinking about this morning. I had the mission of a trip to get there because I flew all the way down to Sao Paulo and then back up to Manaus. Wow. And Brazil's a huge country. And I don't know why my flight ended up that way. It would have been much faster to come. I think I left going through Peru. And that was a much more direct route, but the trip down there was a mission. And then we jump on the float plane and fly out, which is, you're flying over just endless. You could see why there's like those movies, like a plane crashes out there and they just like, you're never finding anybody out there. It's just like,
but then again, that landing on the water was so smooth. I was surprised. That was one of the nicest, softest landings I've ever experienced. It was
those guys have dialed it. Landing a seaplane or a float plane on a winding river. It was like they would set up at like the one stretch that was just long and straight enough that it made sense, but they would come banking in, and then that was all part of the adventure. There's actually a question here, and maybe you have. I've never done this, but have you ever been carp fishing? If so, what's the biggest one you have caught? Carp fishing is huge in Europe. Like in England, carp fishing is, and for us here in California, it's always been, that's trash fish. But everybody I know who actually has gotten into carp fishing, I mean, the fight of carp fishing, particularly if you're getting fly fishing, is supposed to be just amazing. But I've never caught a carp.
Me neither. Now, isn't that kind of a vegetarian fish?
Yeah.
Right. I've seen a lot of people post pictures on they land them on fly, and I've never targeted carp. I mean,
no, or like I said, the guys in Europe launch like balls of maggots and stuff out. It just, or they will seed an area. So basically, they're just like chumming this area at a certain time every day, and then they come there and then they cast out. And that's actually, cool. Patrick Sebile in Florida has a lot of carp in his lake, and really? He'll set off these feeders, and all of a sudden, just all these huge carp. You think there's like some big, great fish you're going to catch, and then it's not the bass, it's carp.
That's cool. Yeah. See, I didn't even know that we had carp in Florida.
Yeah. No, he has a lot of them in his lake. Bill Edwards asks a quick question. How do you get your kayaks to all these crazy places? And that is a great question. And quite honestly, we've done a lot of different things. We've done where we just meet up guys who have kayaks on location. And, you know, that's the beauty of it compared to when I started the show, when kayak fishing was still pretty small. It was much more difficult to find guys at a location. Now you can find kayak anglers all over the world. Of course, we have to be in a certain brand, but that's one thing I'm also very excited about. The quality of inflatable boats now has gone so high that now I can fly with it. You know, it's a piece of my luggage. So I'm looking forward to doing that. NRS has got some great ones. But what we have done, like I said, is usually would ship them well in advance. We'd make a deal with an outfitter. And we would send them down there, and then we would leave them in exchange for, you know, the promotion that we're doing of their location. Some places it was easy, because they were used to dealing with a freight forwarder, and they would get them sent down. Some places more difficult. For instance, we shot in Uganda in Africa. And we shipped those kayaks 6 months in advance. They got there about a day before we did. And then we had to spend a full day trying to get them out of customs, paying a lot of bribes to try and get them out. So that was probably the biggest hassle we ever had. I know, for instance, on this trip, the owner of the lodge was a great guy. And initially he's like, yeah, this is great. Let's do it again. And then the whole cost involved of getting the kayaks to him, not necessarily the cost, but the fees, the duties, the taxes. If you try to bring anything to Brazil, they like triple the cost in taxes. So you got a $2,000 kayak, all of a sudden each kayak $6,000. They're like, yeah, we're not doing this again. You remember that conversation we had with him?
Yeah.
It was just like, I would love to do it, but I can't see doing it again. It's just the duty fees. And again, that's why I'm excited about the inflatable aspect, being able to just, because then there's no fees. I'm not going to leave it down there. I'm going to bring it down there with me in a backpack. So hopefully that all opens up. Clifford Johnson says, yes, I have. The best is 71 centimeters or 28 inches. I guess he's answering the carp question. So, back to Brazil. This was, God, I don't even remember when we did this trip. 2016, 17?
It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
More?
Something like that.
It's been a while, yeah. Remember, we had to cancel. Initially, we were going to go in October.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact month, but I know that they had some weather.
The weather. Yeah.
And the water level, because the whole thing about fishing these places, or this area, you want these big peacock bass. I mean, that was our primary target. And when the water level gets high, And you'll see it when you fly over. It's not mountainous, where we are. It's pretty flat. So if the water gets high, it just goes out into the jungle. And that's where the fish go.
Yeah. Well, the Amazon floods, they have this tide, but it's not like the tides that most people think of, that you'll get a high tide in midday and then it will go down by the afternoon. The Amazon is different. It floods and it stays flooded for a long time. And you're right. All the fish will go deep, deep, deep into the jungle and hide in all the trees, and you just can't cast to them.
Yeah,
you want to go when the levels are low and very low.
Right. And so there was a monsoon or whatever. And so we ended up having to cancel the first one, rescheduled this one. And unfortunately, we still had pretty high water. And it wasn't unfishable. We got some great fish, none of the huge ones, because the problem is you wanted to cast up into these trees, and you would hear, that was the thing, is you'd be out there and you'd hear these fish just crashing back in the trees. So if you found a really nice line that you could make a good cast down, and you knew you were going to get bit, you would get bit. The problem was, as soon as you got bit, it wrapped around a tree and broke you off.
Do you remember my very last cast of that trip? I was throwing one of those big lures with the prop lures.
The big props.
And I hooked a big one. And it went, I fought it for a little bit. You're in a kayak, so it's pulling you towards wherever the fish wants you to go. And he went under a tree. And that was it. Just like that. It was gone.
My biggest one hit just coming out of the trees, and I was so excited because he was coming out. But he hit so hard and so fast and went right under my boat, and I had no time to react and broke me off.
Right.
That was my one shot at a truly big peacock on the trip, and we got plenty of fish. Also, one of the things that was kind of amazing was those guides on how they were so anal about tuning in those prop baits.
Yeah.
Remember that? It was just like you'd throw it and rip it back, and he goes, "Oh no, it's not. It's not making the right sound." As far as I was concerned, it's like, this thing's working great. It's splashing. Its props are turning, and he's like listening to it. No, it's not making the right pitch. It's like, and he'd get it and tweak them just a little bit. It was pretty cool. So we've been yabbering for over half an hour yet, and we really should get this episode going. So let's get the episode going. And we actually have this new feature since you were on last, and we have now picture in picture, so we can be down below the episode while it's rolling. So let's get her going. This week on the Kayak Fishing Show, we're in the Amazon, baby. We are chasing after big peacock bass and having a great time. Stick around, man. This is an awesome show. And all the piranha.
Delicious. They were so good to eat.
Oh, yeah. Don't stand in front of a man and fish he ain't caught yet. So any of you guys that are watching this, remember, you can shoot questions our way. If you have any questions about this trip or any of the other stuff that Esteban is doing, please send them our way and we'll be happy to answer them for you. If you're watching this on a replay, please give me a thumbs up so we know that that's how you're watching it. Do me a big favor and share it with your friends.
I just shared it.
You just shared it?
I did, yeah.
Good man. I mean, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mission to get here.
It took me 30 hours of travel to get here, but totally worth it. Peacock Bass Expeditions got it really dialed in. They met us at the airport, guided us through the small airport to get on a float plane. And once you're here, you really don't have to touch a thing. It's full service. They're grabbing your gear for you. They're dealing with your rods. They really take care of everybody on this trip. Well, we got our first afternoon here on the Amazon. Flew in on a float plane this morning, and now we're going to spend the rest of the afternoon kind of sorting this thing out, getting a feel for this fishery. I'm really excited. Someplace I've always my entire life wanted to come and fish, so I'm just so stoked about this trip. Look how pretty that fish is. Hit right up on the bank, wrapped around a tree. Whew. Good fun, man. I can imagine what a big one's like. That was tough.
I was about to trade the fly rod for the bait caster for a little bit, just to try those new propeller baits that we got. And the guy took the rod and he's actually tuning the propeller. It's actually pretty neat. Not something I would have thought about doing. I just took it out of the box. I was going to use it. Gracias. We are in the Amazon fishing for peacock bass and anything else exotic that wants to bite. We are in the.
That was like one of those little weird freshwater barracuda looking things.
Yeah, they call it bicuda.
I always wanted to come to Brazil to fish, and I have a lot of friends that have done it in the past. And I heard the stories about the size and the way these fish fight. For many people, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it's definitely a must-do if you're a serious angler.
Look below me. I'm just working around all these trees. The nice thing is they're fairly straight up and down, so you can kind of cast in between them. We're hearing a really big fish or something back up inside the trees. It's just like crashing in there. Wow. Exciting.
Well, today was first day here. We fished half a day. Jim got a few fish. I got a barracuda looking freshwater fish. Anyway, so we're gonna call it quits before it gets too dark, and gonna get something to eat. Hopefully,
I think that was like a wolf fish there.
Predator right there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, look at those teeth.
Mm-hmm. That food was amazing, wasn't it?
Some fresh piranha.
Yeah, I heard piranha was good. It was amazing. So good.
It was super good. It was a little bony, but
look at this face.
Yeah, it was
and the
delicious.
way that mouth opens, it's freaking alien right there. The Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you by Jackson Kayak. One family, many waters. Kokatat, manufacturing paddling gear in Arcata, California for more than 45 years. Seagar, the inventor and perfecter of fluorocarbon fishing lines and leaders.
Built-in commercial brakes. David Myers says, if I'm feeling healthy again, when am I going to start traveling again? Well, I got an injection in my shoulder, so that seems to have helped. Doing okay. So hopefully we're going to get back to shooting in early spring of next year.
What a dream come true. Seriously, man, I've been wanting to do this for such a long time. Coming to the Amazon and fishing in these beautiful waters. Let's hope we can get some big fish. Oh, it followed me right.
So I'm just going to pause really quick. What we would do, because, you know, they would tow that houseboat thing from spot to spot. So we were fishing different areas every day, but then we would drag the kayaks even farther. So we were getting away from everybody. And I mean, so you're just fishing all by yourself. You wouldn't see another person all day. It was absolutely amazing. But one thing that just popped into my head right there, remember? The bees. Those were the most annoying. I wasn't even thinking about the bees. I was thinking more of when we were towing the kayaks. Remember when he was I think we were at Coosa HDs.
Yep.
Those things towed behind that boat so well. And he absolutely flew. It was nuts.
That's true.
But yes, the bees. Remind me about the bees.
They were like this big, this black, chubby bees. And it seems like every one of us got one that stayed around our head. It would fly around our head all day long. And all you could hear was the buzz all day long. And every now and then, they were so big, every now and then you would swat it with the paddle so hard that it would land in the water. And you're like, yes, I got it. And then you will watch this bee turn on its back again, get up and fly again. And I always hit as hard as I could. They were indestructible.
Yeah, and if you did get rid of that one, miracle of miracles, here comes that other one. And you would. They didn't sting you. They didn't do anything other than drive you crazy. Because it literally was like I forgot about that. I forgot about that. That was crazy.
Yeah. They were so annoying.
He just came up twice. So one thing I'm finding really beneficial where I'm getting most of my hits is way back underneath these branches. So having a topwater lure like this one, this TA crossover, this thing skips really well.
I didn't put it back up.
I can shoot it in low.
There you go.
At the front of the branches, and it'll hit and skip and go all the way back. So it takes a little bit of practice getting that technique so it hits and skips. But that's pretty much where I've been getting all my hits, is when I've really shot it all the way back. Or when I throw it over a limb like that.
Accurate casting was definitely
these lures wrapped around these branches, and if you sit there and just go real slow and tug on it, you usually end up catching. But if you get it right where you can see it,
easy
where
to
it's
lose
just
lures
over the branch, and then give it a quick snap, it'll come right out. So if you go slow, the hook's going to catch on the top of the branch. So you get it so it's just dangling, and then give it a quick jerk, and it just kind of pendulums it out.
Definitely became experts at getting your lure out of trees.
Believe me, I've had a lot of practice.
And the thing is, if you got one stuck in a tree, and you were behind me or I was behind you, we had to stay there so we wouldn't, because the whole time we're drifting.
Oh, man.
So you don't want to blow out a spot, right?
Right.
So you have to kind of stay there.
Casting into
and then let the other person go in front
structure
and keep fishing.
And branches and everything else, as much as we are, your leader eventually gets whittled down. So I make myself a longer leader and then just keep chopping it down because you want to retie. It's getting frayed up. So got my Seaguar Premier Fluorocarbon, and it really holds up well to this. So because it's such heavy cover, I'm using 50 pound. I wish I had a cast counter, because man, we've made a lot of casts today. Yeah. I think one thing that's really important when you're fighting these fish is having your equipment set up right. You really actually
these would have been a good thing, cyber fishing,
because these things will run up around a branch. There's no reason to give them line because the kayak is moving so easily. So many of these times I've hooked a fish and I've wound myself right to the tree that they're wrapping themselves in. You need to be able to wind fast, keep tension on that thing, and try to get out of there as quick as possible. Don't let them have any line.
And that's a good point, Jim. Remember that we have to use shorter rods, 50 pound.
You better be fishing a tight drag if you hook into a big fish. There's no way you're going to land it because this is a small fish. I'm just going to do a quick release on him.
Snag in the belly.
But I toss this way back in this pocket and lock to drag and just grind on it. He's still got wrapped up in a branch over here. Tight drag, wind fast.
Yeah, high speed reels.
It makes these small fish really fun.
Get dragged in there.
Oh! Being attacked by bees here.
There you go.
Fish really heavy drag, high gear.
There he is. You can just see him buzzing around the front of my boat.
Wind on that thing. And like I said, you're pretty much going to wind yourself to the fish.
And around my head.
I see them.
Jeez, go away. I don't know. They say there's a bee shortage in the world. There's not a bee shortage here. Freaking bugs.
It seems like the moment you get here, the moment you go out to fish, you get 2 bees assigned to each person.
It's the weirdest thing is as soon as you slow down, you immediately have a couple of them buzzing around your head. And they generally don't sting you. They don't do anything. But they're right here around your head driving you nuts. But it is fun once in a while you can smack one out of the air. All bugs must die.
Just fly around your head the entire time. It was the funniest
That was a
thing I've
blast.
ever seen. Your personal bodyguards. I don't know. Maybe it's a Brazilian thing.
Ow, damn it. Something bit me on the arm and I jerked and then the hook went into my hand.
I can hear them.
And I was worried about mosquitoes coming here and there's been virtually no mosquitoes. The Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you by Jackson Kayak. One family.
So I'll pause it. I just want to jump up here. I'd mentioned there, I wish I had a counter. That is one thing this thing is great for. It's cyber fishing. It attaches to your rod and it goes to an app on your phone and you can keep track of all the fish you catch and all that. You'll hit a button when you catch a fish on it, but it literally counts every cast you make. And so you can go through an area, it's synced in with your maps, and you go through an area and you hit. So not only is it counting all the casts, so you know not only where you caught a fish, but where you didn't catch fish. So it's kind of a cool thing. Cyber fishing. And that's the thing. It's this big and it just attaches to your rod. So thought I'd share that just because I happen to bring it up. I've had that for a long time. They're not a sponsor or anything. They just gave it to me a while back, and I've been using it when I go bass fishing. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Many waters. Standard Horizon. Nothing takes to the water like Standard Horizon.
There we go.
These fish, they're very aggressive, but they're also snobs. We would get a bite and a big blow up, and I would pick up the fly sometimes and land it back down, and it's like the fish was never there. They won't come back.
That was that same spot I got blown up on earlier. Come on. How can they miss it? Woo! Well, I've had a little bit of frustration because I've had a lot of blow-ups that they just weren't coming up and actually getting this thing in their mouth. This guy committed to it. Another peacock bass, but a different species. So you can see this one, unlike the other one that had the couple of big spots, this one's covered with small spots. What an exciting fish to catch when they're hitting that topwater like that. Settle down.
I remember talking about that.
What a pretty fish these are.
That topwater I was using.
On there. Beautiful fish.
The hooks
Tiny,
on it just got destroyed.
Beautiful.
And I wanted to move to a different size hook because I was missing fish.
The Paca.
It would not swim.
Like the darker peacock bass
it would not. The action on it went away when I tried to put a little bit bigger hook on it. It just totally threw off the balance of the lure.
That's actually the one with the stripes. We saw a lot more butterfly and Paca than the last one I mentioned, but luckily enough, we actually landed some quality fish, some good fish, a lot of them.
All right. Good fun. Variety. At least they're coming out. Seem a little more aggressive now.
These fish, once they bite, they're freight trains. I mean, they fight hard. They want to get you in the branches. They want to get you in the trees and get that fly out of their mouth. They're very smart.
Oh, it's not as big as I thought. He hit like a freight train, though.
I see you're always getting pulled into the trees.
Another butterfly peacock bass right up under those branches. Skipped it up in there. Woo! They're tough fish, man. I can imagine when you catch a really big one, they got to be really tough because they love to run right back around those branches. We chose to bring the Jackson Kayak Coosa HD. I don't think we could have picked a better boat. It's got every feature you would need for this fishery. I mean, it's maneuverable, it's standable, and it paddles pretty good. I'm really stoked we brought this boat on this trip.
It was a great little river boat.
Well, we're doing a little change of lures right now. I'm getting some advice from the guide. I was throwing some poppers on fly this morning. Not very productive, but only had good action. But for some reason, it didn't seem to want to get a bite. So I'm going to switch to the bait caster for a little while, just to hopefully catch a fish, boost up my confidence, and continue through the day. And it looks like he's going to pick a jig. He thinks that's a good option right now. I always like to mingle with the guides, the locals. I like to learn the language as much as I can. I like to learn about their culture, what they like, where they go, what they eat, what kind of music they listen to, how they dance. And that to me is
Did you say how they dance?
As fishing.
Yeah, Brazilian samba. You never done samba before?
Not a dancer.
Pretty cool, pretty hard too.
Fish and land a lot of fish. But if at the end of the day I don't talk to anybody and I don't learn anything new about people, that's just not enjoyable to me. And that's the kind of thing I like to include in all of my trips. And I call that the organic experience. You know, you want to make sure that you learn.
So like that fish was snagged in the head, and that would happen a lot because those fish would come up and hit the top water or whatever and turn and miss it, and then you'd end up snagging them on their back or on their side.
First day on the water, first full day on the water anyway, and a little bit of a learning curve, trying to figure out what works for us, and man, really working on casting accuracy because you got to get your cast right up underneath these tree limbs, and we've caught a lot of trees. Missed a bunch of fish, but I've also landed quite a few, so super fun day, man. I mean, we're in the Amazon. I mean,
I remember, Jim, that was around the time GoPro came out with voice
like
command.
A barracuda, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at those teeth.
And you would turn your GoPro on.
Damn, he's slimy.
By telling it to turn on, and I would yell from the other side of the river, GoPro on.
The Kayak Fishing Show is brought to you by...
Yeah. Nothing like driving your fishing partner crazy when you could mess with their GoPro. That spot, with that last spot we drifted by, I kind of remember there were areas like that. You'd come around an area, and if there was like a sandy bank, you could almost guarantee there was going to be a fish at each end.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And so it's like, once we kind of figured out that pattern, it was always a race to get to those bends to see who had that little sandbar.
Oh yeah, we were fighting for some spots. I remember that.
They had good equipment. I mean, considering how remote we were, they had pretty nice equipment.
Oh yeah,
you know, these boats they were using were sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marlon, the owner of Peacock Bass Expeditions, he always, and up to this day, he always makes it a point to have the best.
Well, today
he actually just got a brand new boat, a brand new houseboat.
We brought
sent me the picture the other day.
Kayaks with the boat and dragged them for a couple of hours upriver away from the lodge. So very remote. Not that the other places weren't remote, but we are now way
There's
up
some well, it tracks. You see that?
And trying to find a place where maybe there's some bigger fish that want to play. I made one cast on my Soft Magic swimmer, and the tail got removed.
Yeah, soft baits did not work.
Likely
there.
A piranha.
Everything has
I just made a second cast, and it bit off more of the tail. So now I've just got like a head, and they're not getting anywhere near the hook. So I don't think I'll be throwing soft plastics up here. Here we go. That's slow sinking. What's this one? Well, I switched over to a subsurface lure and got a couple of fish. This is one of these
there was a white
freshwater barracuda looking things.
There was a white
with some
Seville
gnarly teeth.
and you killed it.
Don't
with
get your
that
finger
lure.
in there.
Probably
starting off the
shad.
first day's fishing.
The old Seville stick shad.
A lot of blow-ups,
Yeah.
a lot of misses.
Yeah, well, that's what
Today,
I think I was on there right there.
A lot of blow-ups and a lot more fish sticking. Got to try and change it up. I didn't want to go away from this walk the dog lure because I was getting blow-ups, but I wasn't getting things to stick. So what could I do to try and get them to stick? And basically what I was doing is, instead of doing a real fast walk the dog, I slowed it down, a little bit longer pull, which gives you a longer sweep. So you're staying in the strike zone a little bit longer. Going a little bit slower is giving those fish, it seems, a better chance to actually get it. And the other thing I'm doing is, normally when I walk the dog, if I get hit, I will just keep walking the dog. If it hits it and misses, I will just keep walking the dog. And I wasn't getting return hits. So what I started doing was, if I got hit and missed, I would then pause and just let it sit there for just like a 1 count, and then start walking the dog again. And then I was getting those secondary blow-ups. And a lot of times that's the one that sticks. So you just got to vary your retrieve, try different stuff. You know, if you're getting those blow-ups, you know that your lure is doing its job. It's attracting the fish. So then it's a matter of, what do you do to change it up to actually get those fish to stick?
It's funny. I was watching that. I didn't pause it at the right spot, but I was looking at it, and I was talking about my favorite knife.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started the show, I just saw it attached to my PFD. I wonder if it's still on that PFD, because I don't know where it went. It just kind of disappeared on me.
You know, I lost my paddle after that trip. I don't remember if I left it there with them, but I love that paddle. I never found it again.
It's a possibility. I no longer have that Peacock Bass paddle. I think I left that paddle with them as well, just so they would have the paddle to go with the boat.
I remember I was having a conversation about that because they didn't have paddle for the boat.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Anyway, it just caught my eyes, that knife. My favorite knife.
So those little changes have really helped me today.
I tell you what, watching these really makes me want to get on the road again.
Let's do it. It's time, Jim.
Yeah.
Costa Rica's wide open.
This was such a cool.
So easy, logistically speaking.
This part of this trip was so cool.
For lunch, and since we went so far into the
that
jungle,
was best.
we kind of drifted halfway. We're at a point here that they have prepared. They're gonna hang some hammocks, and that's for us to take a nap after we eat. We caught a peacock bass earlier today, nice size, so that's gonna be lunch. So this is as good as it gets. Taking a nap in the Amazon forest, surrounded by all this beauty. Having a beer, of course.
They always had plenty of beer for us.
Always.
Man, you don't eat this good at restaurants. I don't know about
we actually jumped in the water and swam.
Supposed to eat is their
in the Amazon.
Get this little giblet right out of their cheek. Delicious.
I just don't want to get caught in the dark in the jungle, that's all. I'm used to like a little jungle in Costa Rica, not the big Amazon. And I think I've been lost since yesterday. Every turn, every bend, every point looks the same. So you definitely want to be with a guide that knows his way. And we got a good one, thankfully. Well, and if we do get lost and we have to like go to land, as long as I can run faster than Jim, I'm good. Now, as far as the guides go, these guys are impressed the way they know these rivers. I mean, there were some times when we fished all day and it got dark on us and we were heading back and we were miles and miles away, and these guys, you know, riding their boats, getting us back to the lodge in the dark with...
I gotta show you something, Jim. I'll be right back.
It's really mind-blowing.
All right.
My Amazon adventure is awesome. We were having a great time catching a bunch of fish. We still haven't caught the big ones, but we've sorely made up for it with some quantity and a lot of blow-ups, and it's all been top water, which is always exciting. So cool. I mean, what an amazing place. Every time you see a spot, it's like, oh, that looks a good one, I'm gonna make a cast. That's a good one, I'm gonna make a cast. So we were having fun. But we're just out here. I mean, you don't even see planes go over. It seems like everywhere you normally would go, if nothing else, you see airplanes going over. And just nothing. We go out and fish all day and don't see another person or another boat. I mean, this is what dreams are made of. Anybody who is adventurous at all, would say, it's like, God, it'd be a dream to be able to go to the Amazon. So it really has been a dream come true to come here and experience this incredible place.
That's awesome. Jim, there was a
Those
really
guys
cool
did a
picture.
That was a good episode. I'm not gonna lie.
Amazing. I know, right?
Our guys did a good job there. Let me get out of that.
All right.
And give us the screen back. There we go. We're back.
There was a really cool picture that was taken that I think was my favorite picture from the whole trip. And for my birthday a couple of years ago, my girlfriend surprised me. She paints.
Yeah.
I think I showed it to you before, right? And I was just thinking, because I saw the scene when the picture was taken. Look at that.
Here,
That's
let me. I'm going to give you the whole screen.
Look at that.
Oh, that's really cool. So she painted that from one of the photos from the trip.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. So, that's me. She painted a picture of me for you.
No, it is me. Isn't that amazing? One of my most valuable possessions right here. I love this painting.
She's talented.
Yeah, she's very good.
Very talented. Bill Edwards says, maybe when I retire, if you're still guiding, we can go somewhere crazy and catch some great fish, eat some strange food, and drink a cold beer. Let's
go.
Not much better than that. I'm kind of semi-retired now, so and old Bobby.
I'm always down for a trip, you know me.
Yeah, Bobby Tucker, nothing like catching fish, but it really is the whole thing. It's the places. I mean, I've been on a lot of trips. I mean, for instance, I did a trip to Curacao, and it was one of the toughest fishing trips ever, and one of the best times I've ever had. And it was because of the people I was with. I mean, I was fishing with Wes Siegler. My wife came with us. The people we were with, the people who hosted us, the food, everything. It was one of the best trips ever. And the fishing was probably one of the hardest trips we've ever had. So it isn't just the fish. It really is. It's the whole thing. And it's the adventure. And I always say, if everything goes perfect, if everything goes smooth, you generally don't have the stories to tell. It's when you have those hiccups and things go sideways, or you sat through a storm or whatever else. Those just add to the adventure and add to the story that you tell later on. I mean, I used to tell clients all the time, I go, if I remember your name, because I'm really bad at it, if I remember your name, it's because something really cool happened. Yeah. If it was just, one of our normal guided trips out of La Jolla or San Diego Bay, where we do the same thing that you do today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, you don't remember. But if something really cool happens, or if the client totally screws up, you got a story and you remember it.
Well, you know what they say, right? It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
That's the most cliche saying there is, but it is true.
Awesome. So, Esteban, one more time, because, man, we rambled on, and this was awesome. And I love it. I love it when the shows run over, because we were talking and having so much fun. Before we go, because we have run over an hour, how do people, once again, find what you're up to, your new venture? And don't say www dot, because you don't need to say www dot.
I know. Okay, americasangling.com.
There you go.
Is the webpage, americasangling.com. But you can find me on social media, Facebook and Instagram at America's Angling. And also, you could email me directly, Captain.Esteban at americasangling.com. And I'm always here to answer questions. And you know, one of the things I like to do, Jim, and I get this a lot. A lot of people are traveling and they have already booked a trip to a destination that they know I work. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions, because to me, what's important is that people don't get in trouble when they travel to another country. I do it because I love to travel and I love to fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that people always have.
Yeah. I'm always happy to answer people's questions about a place I've been or places I guide or anything like that, because it's whether I'm guiding them or not, it's still I love talking fishing. You know, I love sharing that information. So that's always fun. So Esteban, I'll ask you right now. We have part 2 of this next week. So if you're available, feel free to join me. I'll send you the link. I know it's if you're available, if you're still in town. I know you said you're heading back to Costa Rica soon. So but if you're available, I'd love to have you back on for part 2 of this, because that was super fun.
Absolutely. Let me know which day, and I'll make sure I'm
same day. Be next Tuesday. Same
cool.
Day, same channel, same time, all that. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Tuesday, I'll be at the hotel, so it will be perfect. No problem.
Okay.
I'll be in San Jose. So.
I'll send you a link. So excellent. Everybody, I appreciate you joining us, Esteban. I'm going to drop you out. I appreciate everybody who came and joined for the show today. It was very fun. Like I said, I love reminiscing with Esteban. We've had a lot of fun trips together, and it's always good for a laugh. And like I said, I mean, I like when I do these and I'm able to get somebody who was on the trip back on here, because I mean, again, this was 5-6 years ago. And just, I mean, like that bee thing, I had totally forgotten about the bee thing until he brought it up. And then of course it was in the episode of how annoying these stupid bees were. So Bill actually saying what day next week. We do these every Tuesday. And we do them at 2:00 Pacific time, 5:00 Eastern. Clifford, could you share some of the pictures of the lures and names of them that you guys use over there that work? Well, I've run out of time here for the show now, but drop me a line next time. I'll make sure I have some ready before next week's episode, because it is part 2 of this Brazil episode. So, but that's a great question, and I'll have some here sitting with me. So anyway, again, I appreciate you all joining me here today. If you are going out on the water this week, please remember, always wear your PFD and keep your paddle right side up. Y'all take care.